When Kaleb Johnson entered college at Iowa, he quickly made his mark on the Hawkeyes and on the Big Ten. In his freshman year, he rushed 151 times for 779 yards. In his sophomore year, it was a very light campaign, but it was his final season, his third year at Iowa, where he really exploded. 240 carries, 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. The thing about what Kaleb Johnson has been able to do at Iowa is he did it without much of a passing game, without much that even looked remotely like a passing game. That's what's made what he's done at Iowa so special. He's known for his impressive speed, his powerful running style, and his ability to break tackles. But he became a key offensive weapon for Iowa because he could go against those heavy boxes. His impact was early heavier. As I said, he consistently demonstrated the ability to make explosive plays and provide a spark for a Hawkeye offense that wasn't always that dynamic. Over the years, he developed into a more well-rounded running back, and he proved that not only could he be dynamic in the short term, but over time, he could be reliable on a play-in, play-out basis. He is the original definition of a workhorse running back. That powerful running style allows him the ability to break tackles, but it also keeps defenders on their toes. You think that he might be running you over, and now he is athletic enough to run by you. He's athletic enough to make you miss. These are the things that you really have to like about his game as a running back at the NFL level. You can't run everybody over, and you can't run around everyone. At some point, the rubber meets the road, and Kaleb Johnson understands where the rubber is. I think he's going to have a dynamic impact on the NFL when he gets there. Kaleb Johnson is a back that gets a lot of love from many people who evaluate backs. The one thing that you have to love about him, and we can see it right here on film immediately, boom, look at the balance, right? Look at the balance. He has to jump back because his line's getting beat. He jumps back. Someone grabs on his leg, right there. The dude grabs him by the leg. He's able to put a hand down and never loses forward momentum. His legs never stop moving, and because of that, he's able to get to top speed immediately once he finally does see daylight, right? So again, we're looking. He's here. They're on his legs right there. Hand goes down, brace himself, turns upfield. Another person on his legs gets away, cuts outside for the block, and then boom, the speed takes over from there. And it's not the same type of speed as a Quinshon Judkins where it's quick steps. It's a longer stride, a more Robert Smith-like stride that he's able to use to pull away from defenders and make them have to chase him down. Kaleb Johnson is a guy who's going to be very valuable to a team pretty early on, and you might be able to get him for a discount because of the way that people perceive him with those backs that are in play for the first round. Kaleb Johnson going to the Steelers is quite honestly it's a slam dunk. What he's able to do, what he's good at, being able to be a bruising back and carry the weight while also being dynamic enough to take the ball the distance. These are things that you don't see out of every back. There are a ton of backs in this draft, right? Lots and lots of good ones. Kaleb Johnson, to me, is one of the 4 or 5 best backs in this draft. So if you're thinking about the fantasy relevance for him, remember, Najee Harris was just there. So if you want to know how they're going to use Kaleb Johnson, look at how they use Najee Harris. All they've done really is turn back the clock, made him a little bit more explosive, right? Because that's how they're going to utilize Kaleb Johnson in this offense. It's a great marriage, especially if you're a fantasy manager that wants somebody with a high floor, right? Maybe the ceiling isn't as high because the Steelers' offense isn't as dynamic, but the floor is high. That's what they had with a Najee Harris, at a higher floor. You could almost lock him in for anywhere between 9 and 10, fantasy points. I think that it'll be that exact same way for Kaleb Johnson. Lock him in for close to double digits every single game because he's going to be able to get those tough yards, and he might even be a better receiver than Najee Harris is. I like this move. Maybe somewhere in round 8, 9, you can look to add a running back for depth. And if he is named the guy, right? If he's named the guy, now you have a starter that you can put out there and give you potentially double digits every single week. Love this move for the Steelers, and I love this move for Kaleb Johnson.